Right, hey guys, and welcome back. Today I want to talk about some tips and tricks and things that I wish I knew before I started off the game. I know there's so many of these out there, and there's actually quite interesting to know that there's a variety of different things that different people are pointing out. So I'll be pointing out some of the basic things that you need to be able to live in this game. There's a lot of extra bits that I think it's best you just experience it as a quality of life feature. There's like, multi-select of Pokemon and all these kinds of things that you will just naturally sort of, get used to and figure out as you use it. But there are some things that, the game really does not tell you, and that's what I will be trying to go through in this game. Now, first off, I'm just going to go through the settings that I already have. I think that's the best place to start. So everyone knows that you try to disable your autosave so that you'll be able to have a chance at reloading the game at certain points in case you want to redo a part where your character falls into the river and dies, or maybe what do you call this, you get blacked out by being defeated by a Pokemon and you lose a bunch of items. So having autosave disabled is going to help you to undo that. However, the chances of you, spotting a shiny and then reloading into a specific part of the game does not really help. The only way that you'll be able to, what do you call this, completely reset that part is if you were not in the map area. And what I mean by that is, let's say I am now in Jubilife Village and I decide to travel to Obsidian Fields. Once I've traveled to Obsidian Fields, the chance of the shiny in a specific area has probably already loaded. Right? So it doesn't, if I'm already in Obsidian Fields and I've saved the game before, it doesn't matter if I reload the game in that area, that shiny is already almost always going to be there. However, if I reload from Jubilife and go to Obsidian Fields, there's a high chance the shiny will not be there. So that's something important to take note. That means the seed of Obsidian Fields is loaded before you go there. But once you are there, the seed is the same, and it doesn't matter how many times you reload the game. The Pokemon around you are not really going to look any different or be any different in terms of their leveling, the alpha locations, and all of that. However, of course the battle sequences will go differently. That one the game does quite well to randomize. So that's just something to take note. So this is just a bit of the save tip regarding the way the game saves itself, and I think something that you should take note of. And if you are specifically shiny hunting, I suggest you lower the background music and increase the sound effects and Pokemon cries, specifically because shinies do have a special sort of shimmering noise in their alert. So that's just something. Now that's the first tip. The second one is this little thing here, which is where you get your evolution items mostly. That's where I want to get stuff. You can trade Pokemon here with your friends or with people online, but you don't really need to do that in this game. And that's one of the cool things about the single player experience in this game, which is pretty well done. If you go to look for items, you'll notice that there's quite a bit of evolution stones, but there's also specific items like linking cord. What this does is it allows you to evolve a Pokemon that otherwise requires you to trade it. So you can do that straight off from just purchasing this item. How to get the merit points, which is the currency used for the item exchange? Well, all you gotta do is you gotta go to the. You can actually see it here under the lost and found, where basically if there are players or sometimes even AI that have dropped certain items by dying there in that place previously. Of course, the AIs don't, but it's just a thing the game gives you if you're playing it completely on single player. You will actually have these what do you call these satchels that you can go and pick up on specific parts of the map. So if you actually go to a specific map area, like let's say Crimson Mirelands, if I were to zoom in a little bit, you'll be able to see these satchels on the map. So picking up these satchels will give you merit points, and that will allow you to go and get some items from this vendor, and they're mostly evolution items. And you can look up what each of these evolution items for. There's Electivire, Magmatar, Metal Code for Scissor, and all those good stuff. And then it sells rare candy. I highly don't recommend you purchase rare candy. I think it's the worst purchase in this shop, unless you are going for a very exclusive end game. Otherwise, the best things to buy in here are definitely the evolution stones. Never buy Pokeballs. It's kind of pointless. That's the first thing. The second thing you need to know is stuff that you can craft. Now, this guy actually sells you crafting recipes as you progress through the game. I wanted to know whether it's to do with my player's star ranking, meaning the what do you call this? The rank that I have in the survey corps, but it's nothing to do with that. It's just a matter of progressing in the story, and it will unlock specific recipes for you to purchase. Some of these recipes are quite expensive. But the ones that you can completely leave out is all these ox items, and the reason for that is because these ox items and dire hit only work within that battle. And if you have played the usual Pokemon game, you'll definitely know that this is all the dire hit, X speed, and all those X items, and you don't really need those within the battle because battles go quite fast in this game, considering how Pokemons can use agile style and strong style moves. So all of these items are really not that great. Ox Power Guard can be considered the best among all these items, which is also why it's quite expensive. It will give you a higher chance of just being safe in the battle. Uh, but then again, you rather just take the turn to get a move off or to make a decision that's more important, such as using a healing item. And I think that's more than often the best way to take the challenge on. Because if you do lose the fight and you let the game autosave itself, you will not have that item anymore. So just make sure you save before you take those battles, the difficult ones, and don't rely on these things. Just try to keep your Pokemon at a good level. I never needed to ever use any of these. As you can see, I haven't even purchased the recipes for this, so you quite clearly don't need them. But if you are a person who thinks that you can min max by using these, then sure, by all means, go ahead. Now, the most important things you do want to have are all these basic recipes to craft all the healing items. Although there are certain ones that are quite expensive, and I'll tell you why. Max Revive, for an obvious reason, it's the most powerful revive item in the game. You don't really need to use this. Uh, I think that in the late game, after you've completed the main story, you'll probably need to use Max Revive in certain situations, just because of how dangerous some of the opponents can be. But I'm yet to dwell too deep into that, so I'll get to it when it happens. Max Elixir, obvious reason, is just going to help you, get all your Pokemon's PP back up. So it's very good item. Instead of needing four elixirs, one Max Elixir just solves that problem. It's really good if you're out in the wild and just continuously like farming forever, but otherwise a regular elixir will do the job. You don't really need to use this item. As far as I know, I never really use a max elixir in any game besides the ending in the Pokemon League, and this game doesn't have a Pokemon League, so yeah. Sticky Glob is one of the most powerful stun items in the game. I think it's the most powerful, hands down. Throwing at least two or three of these Sticky Globs will stun certain alphas depending on the level of the area that you're in. For higher level areas, I think you need to throw 3 to 4. For lower level areas, just 2 or 3 will do. Sometimes you just have to throw one, and even alpha Pokemon will get stunned from this, which will allow you to go to their backs and then throw an Ultra Ball at them, increasing your chances of getting that surprise throw and also catching them just like that. And I've actually tried this a few times and managed to catch a bunch of alphas with this, but I've also somehow caught a lot of alphas without the Sticky Glob. So from my experience, you can fight the Pokemon just straight up if you are able to tank it and try to catch it with the Ultra Ball. But if you're trying to catch an alpha that's well beyond the level of your team, because that's the whole point. The advantage the alpha gives you is that you can catch a Pokemon that's well beyond the level of other Pokemon in the zone. That's the only real advantage alpha gives you, and they have a few additional EVs. But EVs you can easily just farm it up. And besides that, levels you can just get your Pokemon to level up. So the only real advantage is just that you can catch a Pokemon that's very, very high level than all the other Pokemon in the zone. But it's going to be really difficult to catch it. So if you can't battle it, you can do the Sticky Glob and then Ultra Ball, and you have a very high chance of catching it. Other than that, all the other cakes are just basically used to sort of lure Pokemon. I don't really use them, never really needed to. I'd rather just sneak up on the Pokemon and throw a Pokeball. And I recommend you just do that. A very important item in the crafting recipe is this thing called Starbeast, where you really don't want to do what I did, which is I sold a lot of my Stardust very early on. Then I realized that there's this crafting recipe for Starbeast. If you have one bag of Stardust, and then you go to a space-time distortion, you'll be able to just run around and pick up these shards. Make sure you pick up an even number of red, blue, and green because you need 3 of each, and then 1 bag of stardust to be able to craft 1 star piece. While the recipe is expensive early on, each star piece is about 5,000 in sale, and you'll definitely earn your money back quite fast. So that's for the vendor. As for the crafting itself, Ultra Ball is obviously just the best Pokeball in the game, but once you are crafting Ultra Ball in the numbers, you can actually skip Great Balls because Pokeballs work most of the time. From my experience, Pokeballs actually let you catch Pokemon up to levels even of 40 to 50 quite easily if you are doing a surprise throw. If you haven't really got comfortable with the surprise throw and there's just certain Pokemon in locations that are quite hard to aim at, you can try the Great Ball, but I just recommend you just go for the Ultra Ball. It's a high chance of catching it, and you don't have to waste, apricorns and tumblestones. And it'll take you 2 iron chunks anyway to craft 2 great balls. So yeah, ultra balls for the win. As for the heavy balls, I never really got good at using these, but I have heard a lot of good reviews about these heavy balls and how if you manage to surprise throw this, alphas are also super easy to catch. So if you use the Sticky Glob and Gigaton Ball combo, there's a very high chance of you catching alphas up to level 70s. So yeah, if you guys want to go for that and you guys have sort of mastered the Gigaton Ball throwing because it really sucks. The experience really sucks. But yeah, if you can manage that, then yeah, it's a pretty powerful Pokeball, probably the best in the game, better than the Ultra Ball. But you got to be really close, like in the face of the opponent, or in the butt basically, because you're going to try to throw a surprise throw, and you got to throw it straight in their back to get it. The Wing Ball is very niche. It's specifically to catch flying Pokemon, like in the air. You will see Magnazones flying, you will see Togetic's flying, you will even see a Gyarados flying sometimes in certain places. I've not really seen many other. These are the non-flying type Pokemon that naturally fly. Like Gyarados, yes, is flying type, but it's mainly a water Pokemon. But these are the like the unorthodox Pokemon that you'll see flying. As for the birds, you'll generally see some birds flying around, but that's about it. Hyper Potion is naturally the go-to potion as opposed to Max Potion because it actually covers your Pokemon for most of the part of the game. 150 HP is actually a lot to recover. The only time you may need Max Potion is in the actual battle because you don't really want to take 2 turns to use Hyper Potions, and by the time you reach the point in the game where you will need to use max potion, your Pokemon's HP can be in like the 2 to 300s. So max potion is eventually the go-to, but you don't have to worry about crafting hyper potions to get max potions because they use different crafting items. As for the remedies, I never really use them because a lot of these, what do you call these materials that are used to craft remedies are also used to craft the potions. So I rather just invest in those. So you will have an excess of this item called bugworts, but it's not a big deal because you can use bugworts for some other crafting, which I will explain to you. Full heal requires you to have a bunch of berries. I'll tell you which berries are not very useful shortly. Jubilife Muffin also requires a bunch of berries, and it requires this item called Cake Clear Base, which you can easily buy from the vendor, the crafting vendor. So you can't really look for those in the wild unless you get it by a drop or something. So just get the Cake Clear Base from the vendors, and then you can craft a whole bunch of Jubilife muffins. The good thing about them is I believe they increase the friendship with your Pokemon. This is the Revive. It's just a very useful item. What you'll be using for most of the game. Max Revive is very end game. As you can see, Max Revive and Max Potion both use King's Leaf, so it's a very valuable item. King's Leaves can be found usually atop very high points in the game, so you have to be very you have to look out for these, and you can achieve them very much later in the game as you have the Flying Mountain. You'll see a lot of King's Leaves on like hilltops. Max Ether is just one little building component for Max Elixir, and you rather not spend your Max Ethers, just save them up to craft Max Elixirs. But as you can see, they also need King's Leaves, so King's Leaves are really high value late in the game. And also, you can't really get them from the farm that is in the what do you call this village, and I'll show you that in a bit. But the best way to get King's Leaves is to just go out on the map and go and look for them and farm them, and they are truly an item that you have to go and farm for. That's the best way to get King Sleeves. And the main 3 items that we use for is Max Elixir, Max Potion, and Max Revive. All the max items. Stealth Spray is where you can keep your excess of bug warts and craft these. These are excellent items for you to creep up on Alpha Pokemon, especially when you don't have grass to cover. They also allow you to avoid a lot of wild Pokemon when you don't have the grass to cover yourself. So Stealth Spray is a very good option. There is another option, which is Smoke Bomb, which I generally go for. But Stealth Spray will help you if you can find a place where you can sort of sneak between the grass and like a tree or something like that. But if you're truly in the open, doesn't matter if you have Stealth Spray, if the Pokemon just spots you. That is where Smoke Bombs are just hands down better. So if you ask me, should you craft Stealth Spray? If you have the access of Bugwort, sure, go for it. Otherwise, save your Hopo Berries for the Jubilife Muffin because it's a really valuable item. And just craft Smoke Bombs because Foot Root and Castor Fern, you don't really need those for any other item besides. Let's see, where is it? There's one item somewhere. Uh, Choice Dumpling. No, actually, yeah, actually, you don't need the Castor Fern for anything else. Yeah, Scatterbang and Smoke Bomb. Yeah, so pretty much Smoke Bomb is the best item for you to craft to sneak up on wild Pokemon. So I highly recommend you just get Smoke Bomb, but more than often there is some grass around. But if there is really no grass, you can either use Smoke Bombs or Stealth Spray, but I recommend Smoke Bombs. That's just my recommendation. Sticky Glob, as I said, the ultimate way to stun up Alpha Pokemon and to stun any Pokemon in general. So you don't want to discard all of your balls of mud and your spoiled Apricorn. You can just keep them with you, but you have to find. Oh, there we go. Caster Fern is being used for Sticky Glob, right? So if you want to save your Caster Ferns for Sticky Globs, then you gotta use Stealth Spray instead. But otherwise, you can just use your Caster Ferns for Smoke Bombs, and then you just have to find like a better chance of getting your surprise throws and not use the Sticky Glob. All of the lures I don't really use. I have tried them and they do work. Pokemon run up to them and it makes certain Pokemon easier to catch. But a lot of alphas don't get affected by these kicks, and therefore it's kind of pointless if you're hunting really strong Pokemon. But if you're just hunting Pokemon in the wild in general, even without these, you can sneak up on them most of the time and just throw a Pokeball. I never really needed to use these. I just tried them because I had them as gifts, and yeah, they work, but they're not necessary. Scarabang is really nice if you're going to a low level area just to like do some digging or some farming. You want to use Ursaluna to dig up and search for pelt blocks, and you're being hoarded by enemies. Throw a bunch of scatterbangs, all the weak Pokemon run away, but it doesn't work on alphas. So if you're near an alpha, it's kind of pointless. This item is just it's there, but yeah, it's kind of pointless. Choice Dumpling is like Encore. Is the ability called Encore? No, no, actually it's not. It's like Choice Specs. I think it's Choice Specs or Choice Band. It's one of those two items, which basically allows your Pokemon to do a lot of more damage. Uh, Choice Band I think is a held item in the regular Pokemon game, so it increases your Pokemon's damage, but they'll be fixed on a specific move. In this game, however, they'll also take more damage, so you want to be careful with that. It's sort of like rivalry or something. Anyway, Swap Snack, when eaten, this curious snack temporarily swamps the Pokemon's offensive and defensive stats. This is useful when you want to turn certain Pokemon like Blissey or Umbreon into a Nightmare. When you suddenly want to show off their ridiculous special attack or something like that. But other than that, it's just a troll item. Pokeshi doll is purely for money. Whenever you see wood, just pick them up, craft some Pokeshi dolls. They sell for like 1,000 each. It's good early on in the game, but later on you'll just be relying on star pieces. So that's pretty much it for the crafting thus far. As for the items that you really like the berries and stuff you really will not use, Nana berry and peanut berries are not used for any crafting recipes in the game. There's also a bunch of other items like doppelbonnets and all that I've not seen recipes for. And I am currently in rank 7. So there is a possibility that there are crafting recipes for them later on. But I think I checked it up, and for these two berries specifically, like the nut berry and peanut berry, there's really no crafting recipes. There's none. So yeah, you can completely use these berries to throw at wild Pokemon to attract them. They both work around the same way. This one will calm wild Pokemon if they eat them, and you can use it to heal your Pokemon for 1/3 of its HP. This one will increase more, will give you more XP points when you're catching wild Pokemon. Yeah, there's the two advantages of it. So yeah, that's about it. Now, that's all for the crafting. Next is this guy. This guy actually sells you XP items, so you can talk to this guy and he'll sell you a bunch of candies. They're really expensive and they're very late game. That's about it. It doesn't really serve any other purpose. These two vendors are also quite interesting. Now, if you talk to Ginter, he will sell you ever so often an item like this, a mechanical box, and he will tell you bargain price of 20k. So, I mean, naturally, the best way is you look it up. What is mechanical box? And then you realize that some of it will actually allow you to what do you call this? Evolve the Pokemon Rotom. And Rotom, there's like a few different items that allow you to change Rotom's forms in different ways. I think the mechanical box is the fire one. You know what? Let's just buy it since we have the cash for it. So yeah, okay. So other than that, he will also sell like a different set of bundle items every other day. If you ask me, most of his bundles are not worth it. The only thing that's truly worth it to talk to him for, like every time you come back every other day, is to talk to him to check on the mechanical items that is required for Rotom. Other than those mechanical items, as I said, he sells a bunch of bundles, but they're not really that worth it. As for this girl, she sells you all the other berries that you otherwise have to go and look for in the wild. So she's your best resource if you need to look for things like King's Leaf. They are 1,000 gold each, but because they are tricky to get, you really got to go out and look for them. You can get them here, and they are a pretty um, sustainable way of getting them. It's just that really, really expensive. The rest of these items you can easily get in the wild, so you don't really need to get these. So yeah, that's about it. Anyway, that's for these two vendors. And yeah, the only thing that's worth it is Kingsleaf, but it's expensive, so you really got to think about that. The rest of these Pokemon people are just like for cosmetics and whatever, so I'm not really going to go through them. Let me run up to the move tutor and explain to you a little bit about what she has. Da, 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 da. Okay, and for moving around town itself, you can actually go to the map, hit the choose destination button, and teleport around the town. It's the same way for what do you call this when you're in like certain areas of the um, other regions. It's just that you can only go to places where there are camps. But in town, there's a bunch of locations you can pick from, so you can just go for that. So if you want new moves, the move tutor basically will teach your Pokemon moves that otherwise it will not naturally learn. So for example, if I were to pick Dialga here, Dialga does not learn these moves here naturally. So you can actually get them only from this vendor by this means. So Flamethrower, yes, excellent move. Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, all of these options like Draco Meteor, for example, and these really powerful options are available for me to teach to my Dialga, but Dialga otherwise would not naturally learn it. Alternatively, there's also the Master Moves option, which allows your Pokemon to master a move if you have the Seed of Mastery. I have a bunch in my inventory, and you gotta come and give it to this person. But if you don't want to use this option to master moves as you level up your Pokemon, they will eventually master the moves that they have. And you can save those seeds of masteries to actually sell them because they sell for a pretty decent price. So that is something to take note of. Oh yeah, on the east of this battle arena, there's actually a woman at the well. And this woman will actually allow you to get certain charms that will help you traversing through the world. So just to talk to her, here we go. She'll ask you what do you want to help with. So you have fewer charms, lose fewer items when you pass out, faint less frequently, stay in good health. So there are sort of these charms for you. If you ask me, none of them are really worth it. You can completely save the money of this charm thingy. It doesn't really help you, but I guess for newer players, for those who are struggling with the mechanics in the game, I think the stay in good health is a pretty good charm. I think it increases your chances of having one extra life when you get attacked by a wild Pokemon and whatever. Also, for this farm, try to talk to this guy early on, Miller, and unlock all of the farms if possible. Most of it can be easily done. The last one he will ask for is a Pokemon with the Rock Smash. Very simple. Get a Geodude, go to the move tutor, teach the Geodude Rock Smash, give it to that guy, and you'll unlock the last farm. Once you have unlocked all the farms, this guy here, Kolza, will actually tell you that he can plant a whole bunch of variety of crops or whatever. I normally went for the apricot harvest early on because it seemed to be the most useful because I don't have to knock down trees just to get apricorns, and it did give me a whole bunch of apricorns. Very much to the end of the game. Actually, I actually have like a lot of apricorns all the way, and I recently have less because I've started to alternate to other things to try out. The berry harvest is not very useful. Medicinal harvest is not very useful because very late in the game you'll be looking purely for the king's leaves, and the other berries are very random and the order is just not very good. Same goes to vegetable, very random. The apricot harvest is the only thing that's truly like, you get what you pay for. It's $500 and you always get apricorns. Everything else is very random up to the very end when it gives you the option for this thing called mint harvest. And mint harvest is a very, very premium thing in the game because it allows you to change the nature of the Pokemon that you have. So if you've already built the team that you need to with the natures that are just the best for them, you don't need to do the mint harvest. However, if let's say for example I have a Dialga that I can actually improve from hardy to say modest nature. If I get a modest mint from the guy, the mint is random, by the way. You don't know what mints you'll get, but if you get the mints that you probably are looking for, like adamant or modest or jolly or sassy or whatever, then you can just feed it to your Pokemon and it'll change the nature of your Pokemon. And at first I was a bit worried of whether I should keep my Pokemon under leveled, or at the level that I caught them before I get the mint and then use the mint to level them up. But then later on I realized that it doesn't matter. You can level your Pokemon all the way to 100 and then finally use the mint, and the nature will change and the stat changes will take effect accordingly. So that is the thing that I was looking for. I spent like almost a day googling it, and I did get some people who finally told me that yes, you can level up your Pokemon all the way to 100, and you can then give them the mint, so it doesn't really matter. I'm actually going to pull out my Palkia here um, to replace my Walrein, because Palkia is just the best water Pokemon in this game. Uh, but it's a bad natured one, so eventually when I get the mint, I'll let you guys know. So to get the harvest, sometimes you can come back to the village and realize that it's not grown yet. It actually works based on how many Pokemon you catch in the wild. So if you catch like 10 Pokemon, you can harvest like apricorns or vegetables. 15 is for berries and so on. 20 Pokemon is for mint and so on. So you gotta catch a certain number of Pokemon to be able to harvest your vegetables. I kind of ignore it and just play it as sort of a role-playing experience where I just go out in the wild and catch Pokemon. And if I have caught enough, I'll just go back and check whether the crops have grown out. But I think at about 20 you'll get the mint harvest, so you can remember that. At this moment there, as you saw just now, I can actually what do you call this, go to exchange my Pokemon. But there's a few other unique things inside here, or some quality of life things that I think I should point out. Now the first thing is, if you go to the what do you call this, all pastures option, not this one, this one, you can actually release the entire box, if I'm not mistaken. Hang on, another one. Release multiple. Release multiple. No, not this one. How do I do that? No. Hang on. Did I misclick it or something? Oh, I think there's an update for it or something. I'm not sure because I remember seeing somewhere that I should be able to do that. Like if I were to select, yeah, swap. No, hang on. Let me see. Okay, never mind. I think that option doesn't really exist. I'm not sure whether I completely dreamt it or whatever. But anyway, you can multi-select Pokemon and you can release multiple Pokemon by multi-selecting them. So that is an option. You just gotta toggle the select option at the top to move, multi-select, and so on. Move will allow you to easily just move Pokemon without needing to click twice. It's just these little things that will help you navigate through the Pokebox. I think you know most of it. So you can actually release multiple Pokemon just by ticking them and then hitting the release button. So that is another thing. As for the what do you call this? The main place there. What do you call it? Let me see. It's called the Galaxy Hall. Yeah. As for the Galaxy Hall, when you want to rank up your star, make sure you do not exceed the experience points you need to go to the next level. And what I mean by that is, let's say I'm currently at the 7th star, right? If I am, if I've got this almost to the 8th star, I should rather just catch a few Pokemon and go and see the captain to get to the 8th star before I continue the game. Reason for that is that you cannot carry forward the experience to the next star level. So if I'm in, let's say, in the 2nd star and I get full XP, I should come back to the captain to get to the 3rd star first before I continue. Otherwise, any XP I accumulate beyond that is completely wasted. Why is this important? Leveling up in the star level will allow you to craft more unique items, and also you'll be able to find specific items better in the wild, and you'll be able to keep Pokemon up to a higher level, something like the gym ranking basically. You'll be able to control Pokemon up to a higher level and also catch alphas up to a higher level, and that's pretty much what determines that catch rate. So sometimes you'll see these Pokemon faces on the map, which means there's an outbreak, which means you'll have a crazy amount of that specific Pokemon. So let's say I want to catch Sneasel, the Hisuian Sneasel, there's a good chance. Magikarp, great chance to find the perfect Gyarados. It is also a great chance to actually go and find a shiny Pokemon. So we'll go to the wild this time and I'll show you a little bit on that. Here we go. Alright, so we are in the Cardinal Highlands. Let me see. So Magikarp is near the Fabled Spring. Not too far from where we are. Let me just remove this. Right, I see. Summit Camp, Mountain Camp. I can just fly there actually, so I don't need to do this. So let me see. Let me mark the Magikarp Outbreak. So in the map, you have a bunch of ways to mark Pokemons and whatever inside here. So let's say I select this. It leaves a stamp there permanently. The flag will always be replaced when you get another flag. But let's say I mark this place for a specific important item. I can continue to mark other places for specific important items. So that is just something I thought you guys should know, and you can remove them at any time. The pins, however, will always be replaced, so you can't pin multiple destinations. So that is kind of the unfortunate thing, but yeah, it's just something to note. But all of it will show for you in the game, so you can actually try that out. There we go. Let's get onto our Hisuian Breviary and then head towards the Magikarp Outbreak just to show you what the outbreak looks like and whether there is a truly a higher chance of a shiny. Let's just go up to this point, climb up a little bit. Let me get off my mount, throw that there, get on my mount again. There we go. It's above that, huh? Okay. Go up there. This is the one weird aspect of the game, which is I can't quite seem to just fly continuously. Anyway, let's speed up a little bit here. There we go. There's another Goodra on there. We already got a good modest Goodra, so it's a pretty cool Pokemon. The best Steel and Dragon Pokemon, probably the best Pokemon up to the legendaries for you early on. So this is the lake where the Magikarp spawn is happening. So we're just gonna nosedive down into the game, into the water, and then there we go. We found the mass outbreak. We can actually look out in the map for shinies. That's kind of the cool thing of Pokemon Legends. You don't have to get into the fight first before you actually decide to catch a specific Magikarp. So you can actually look around and see whether any of these Magikarp are truly a shiny. And I think that's one of the best features about this game. So let's just go around a little more just to grasp how far the outbreak is. It's all contained within this area, it seems. So what we'll do is let's just craft a bunch of Pokeballs here. Here we go. Do I have enough? No, I actually don't have enough for Pokeballs. But it's alright, doesn't matter. We should be able to see one if it is a shiny. But an outbreak often increases the chances of you getting a shiny. But as I said before, you can't, what do you call that? You can't increase your own chances by just saving and reloading the game. It doesn't work that way. So that is something to take note. Skunk Pokemon. Whatever. Let's just get into the water and escape that. Let's go to the waterfall. I'm just trying to see if any other Magikarp spawns besides these. You know what? We will throw a bunch of Pokeballs here just to simply catch these. I think it's fine. These Magikarps will be easily caught. One of the easiest Pokemon to catch. It's quite hilarious, by the way. They like to run up to you. That's even better. Like these Pokemon really don't care about being caught. So yeah, some of these are a little interesting. Some of these actually didn't get caught. Wow, okay. There we go. We have more Magikarp spawning. And then should be able to just see. Go. There we go. So as we continue catching Pokemon in the Outbreak, you can see more Pokemon spawn, and that will increase the chance of you eventually finding a shiny. So you can keep doing it during an Outbreak, but an Outbreak is only up to like 20 Pokemon, 25 or something like that. And beyond that, you know, too bad, I guess. You just didn't get your shiny today. But the Outbreak is the best chance at getting a shiny. Otherwise, you actually have to complete the Pokédex entries for that specific Pokemon. So for example, if I go to Bidoof, I've actually completed the what do you call this? Most of the Pokédex entries for Bidoof. So if I've got research level 10, as you can see down here, complete 10. So if I have research level 10, it increases my chance of actually getting a shiny for that specific Pokemon. But it's no guarantee because shinies are still quite rare, but not as rare as in other games. So you can consider sort of just waiting it out and trying your luck. But I highly recommend you just catch that same Pokemon, and it increases your chances of getting a shiny eventually, which is a cool feature in this game. Now, next bit. Let's say I am um, out and about. You do want to know that specific maps will allow you to farm specific things. So let me go to Highlands Camp. So you know you always have to what do you call this? Report your findings, and only then you can sort of hit back. Let me see. Yes, okay, whatever. Blah blah. Yada yada yada. Come on. Yeah, okay, he's gonna update that. We're gonna get a bit of XP here. Okay, let's return to the village. All right. So let's say I need to farm something like what do you call this? Iron chunks, right? So specific maps are specialized in specific resources. So if you're looking for certain resources more than others, you do want to go to a specific map. You can't just go to wherever and expect to find. Holy crap! Is that a Blissey outbreak? We are definitely going for that. So let's say we go to the obsidian fields, we will naturally find more things like apricorn and what do you call these, the stones or whatever used to craft pokeballs. But if you want iron, which is more for great balls and ultra balls, you do want to go to what do you call this, maps with higher level Pokemon. Like the next one, the main one is Crimson Mirelands. Crimson Mirelands and Cobalt Closelands have the most iron chunks, so you can go to these two if you're looking specifically for iron chunks. Even the what do you call this, Colonel Highlands is not bad, but these two specifically have a lot of iron chunks. Colonel Highlands has a lot of other things like berries and stuff. So you got to remember that certain locations do yield certain items better if you're farming for specific items. So that is something to take note. Now, the next big tip I want to give before we head out for that Chansey outbreak is that your alpha Pokemon. All right, so let me go to my first team. There we go. So I've got a bunch of alpha Pokemon. If you defeat an alpha Pokemon, or if you release an alpha Pokemon, you automatically increase your chance of getting more grits, grit pebbles, grit rocks, and stuff like that. Defeating the Pokemon often yields you a lot of XP items to, sort of like that L candies, M candies, and whatever. They're sort of like mini rare candies. But releasing them definitely will give you a grid item, a very high chance of a grid item, in fact. High level Pokemon will also yield the same thing, but alphas always yield you the best results. So, for example, let me release one of my alpha chances here. Let me take this guy. There we go, and let's release that. Yes. So now I've released my Chansey. Another thing to take note is, I'll show you in a bit what you get. Another thing you have to take note is that alpha Pokemon stats at the end game do not differ from regular Pokemon. The main advantage of alpha Pokemon, as I said before, is that they will be the highest level Pokemon in a specific zone. So they give you a level advantage to have that Pokemon in your team. Because they will outlevel most of the wild Pokemon and most of the challenges in that area. But other than that, they do not give you any other stat advantage. And they will have a certain extra EVs, effort values. But effort values are not a big deal because you can easily use grid items to just get effort values up for all your Pokemon. There are no IVs in this game, so two Pokemon with the same nature will always have the same stats. That's how it is. If your EVs are the same, you always have the same stats. You just got to give them the grid items, and the EVs will all be the same. And you can also increase the EVs of all your stats. You don't have to do it for a specific stat in this game. So you can actually get your Pokemon to the max possible form that they could be in. The max value of EVs in this game is 10. So I think it's Grid Rock. That's the last item that will increase the EVs from 9 to 10. And yeah, that's the maximum we can go. So now that we've released this alpha, as you can see, I'm going to get Grid Rock. So alphas always yield the highest grid items, which is like rocks and whatever. The regular Pokemon releasing them will give you Grid Dust usually, and Grid Pebbles sometimes, which are very low value. So you can use them early on to increase your Pokemon's EV up to a certain point, but later on you really want to get as many of these Grid Pebbles and Grid Rocks, and of course Grid Dust to max out their EVs. And yeah, those will be your end game items. Let me stash away all my Black Tumblestones. I don't really use those. Let's see. What else do I have? Do I have a bunch of radishes here or something? No, actually I don't. Plates, yada yada. Mushrooms. As you can see, there's a bunch of items I never keep with me. Springy mushrooms, dazzling honey, plump beans, crunchy salt. Because sword cap, these items are really things that I never really use for crafting. So you can follow my suggestion if you feel that yes, they are not very helpful. Even these stealth sprays, I don't really use them compared to smoke bombs. But when I do run out of smoke bombs, stealth sprays work. They're just the same. They're pretty useful items. So anyway, let's go for the Chansey Outbreak. I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all my tips and tricks for today. Thanks for watching. I will be back with more advanced tips, perhaps in battling, because there's a few cool things that you can see when you're actually battling Pokemon. So let me just head over to the Chansey place and see if we do need to find a battle, and if we do, perhaps I can show you guys a little bit, showcase a little bit of that battling tips. But otherwise, I think that's the gist of the game that I think you guys should know, that is not really told anywhere, especially the alpha stuff. Alpha stats are the same. Um, Mastering moves you can just get as you level up. You don't really need to spend any mastering points. So there are certain things like that that you can just sort of figure out eventually, or yeah, watch tip videos like this. So that's it from me. Take care, guys.